Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Chat South Africa with Pammy T. Now, my name is Pammy T, and you, of course, are always welcome to stop by. Now, today I want us to speak about something a little bit sensitive. While others might find it sensitive, but we are South Africans. We have to face the good, we have to face the bad. And, not all topics that we talk about are topics that put a smile on our faces. Some are a bit sensitive, some are they've got the potential to cause a bit of a clash because obviously we all differ in opinion and our minds don't work the same. But our topic for today is the justice system really working for South Africans? Is the justice system really working for South Africa? Now, the reason that I ask this question is that if you're someone who's frequent with the news, if you watch the updates, if you'll notice that not a week goes by. In fact, if I say a week, I'm definitely lying. You definitely wouldn't pass 2 days without reading a title, justice for who, justice for so-and-so, justice for this one, justice for, whether it's gender-based violence, whether it's violation towards kids, and when you hear the stories, it's the most horrific stories. And South Africans go out on marches. South Africans speak about it. South Africans have got, these projects that are fully focused. Gender-based violence, be it whatever it is. But there's always that element where South Africans are demanding justice, asking for justice on the most horrific crimes. So once these crimes are committed, once these families are now crying, grieving for whoever it is in the family that they've lost, what exactly happens to the perpetrators? Well, I guess the worst case scenario is when the cops try to get hold of that person or whatever. Maybe the person could try running away, and that could lead to a shootout, and that could lead to the perpetrator maybe losing their life. I think for me personally, currently, that's the worst case scenario. But if not that, then the person could face prison time. It would depend whether this person is actually caught. But as I said, if we were to talk about the worst case scenario, this person would be caught and then they would have to face prison time. Now, first and foremost, this person would need to go for their bail hearing, right? Which happens even before the trial, even before anything. So as soon as you get arrested by the cops, I think probably your first or second appearance, you are still busy with your bail hearing, right? And chances are, if it's said that, you've never committed an offense before, you don't have any protection orders against you, those type of things. If you don't have them, if you don't have any previous offenses, and, you are not someone who's a risk of flight, a person who's a risk of disappearing, chances are you'll get that bail. Even if you've committed the most horrific crime, chances are if you haven't committed a crime previously and you apply for bail and you are not, a person of risk or anything of the sort, then chances are you are going to get that bail. You are going to go back into the community or probably see the family members of the person that you've offended, of the person that you've unalived. So basically, the bottom line is if the perpetrator is from around your area, around your neighborhood, your family is going to have to swallow it as bitter as it may be. If they get bail, then there's nothing much that your family can do. They just have to see that perpetrator, see the person that has offended or committed this offense to your family. Then finally, after some time, the trial begins. Now, when the trial begins, it's the state versus the perpetrator. Now, depending on how good or how strong the perpetrator's team is, at the end of all that, no matter how long the trial takes, at the end, the family still has to face the verdict. Is this person found guilty or not? Now, remember that if this person has good legal representation, no matter how sure you are that this person has done this crime, the verdict still has a possibility of coming out in their favor. You might find stories like there was insufficient evidence, or the evidence that was given couldn't really link this person to the crime. All those things will frustrate the family. Okay, all right. Let's move things forward a bit. So let's say this is after trial, during sentencing. Let's say this person gets 25 years imprisonment, right? Which is equal to life, right? This person walks into prison, they go there, they get their matric certificate. They go there, they get a tertiary qualification. They get moved up in ranks. Nini, they're in the kitchen. They're the ones in charge of all the cooking. Nini, probably they're sewing, learning a skill, doing some woodwork, learning a skill. And, years go by, considering maybe they get good behavior and they don't even do the 25 years. Maybe let's say they go 15 to 20 and they get considered for good behavior. You know what, since you've been here, you've been a good boy, you seem like you've repented, and let's look at parole for you. Yes, I am aware that prison isn't a walk in the park. I am aware that people are violated there. At times people do not get food. At times people are raped, they are assaulted. There are a lot of things that are happening there. People are fighting for their lives each and every single day in prisons, right? But that is not the angle I want to focus on. I know, as much as I may be saying, you go in there and you come out with a matric certificate, a tertiary qualification, a skill, and whatever. I know that it's not a walk in the park. Well, it's reported not to be a walk in the park. I haven't been in prison, so I wouldn't know. But I'm not going to highlight the bad situation or the ugly things that happen to you, because high chances are, the perpetrator has done something to get himself into that situation. And I don't think it's my duty to feel sorry for a person that has done a crucial violation to another. Because what you do to another, you should be able to stand for yourself. So then 20 years goes by. Perpetrator gets his parole. A family member comes out to sign for him. Yes, I'll be responsible for him. He'll be coming to stay with us. Us being the same place that he violated, the same neighborhood where he did this violation. Then he comes out because, legally so. And you as the perpetrator are now going to have to go and sign every week or something like, and all that, right? And then this guy comes out into the same community where he caused this offense, to the same people, same surrounding where this tragic incident had happened. And, the victim's family has to now see this person. Remember, this is a family that has been trying to heal in these 20 years that this person has been inside. Now, for me, that's the part that I have a problem with. That's the part that I have a very big problem with, because as soon as the victim's people see this perpetrator, although he's served his time, he's served for his crime, all these things that these people say. But here we're dealing with real people with real emotions. As much as this family has been given, if I could say, those 20 plus years to heal, once they see this perpetrator walking in the streets, it's like pouring salt on a wound. Because the wound of losing a family member, especially suddenly, unexpectedly, just the way this person was never sick. They were just brutally taken. They were taken from us like out of thin air. 1 second we have this person, then the very next minute you're picking your person up from the floor. They are no more. That is not a joke. So when you see this perpetrator, it's salt onto the wound. Now, in this particular video, I didn't want to make reference to anyone or any story in particular, but let me give you an instance of what I mean. With this recent incident with the story that is currently taking place, the story about those two Mamelodi girls that have lost their lives, right? You know that there were 3 individuals that were shot. Those were the 2 girls who lost their lives, and then there's one more, another guy that was also shot, who was accompanying these girls home on that morning. And this guy was shot in the genitals, and he was shot in the spine as well. Now, he survived. He was able to drag himself to one of the neighbors, and they quickly took him to the hospital, and he got medical attention, and he is speaking. Now, we haven't heard the worst. Luckily, we haven't yet heard how much damage has been done to his body. But for now, let's just try to use our minds. And this is not us wishing him the worst. It's based on the information that we have. Now, if someone's spine has been tampered with, we know that the spine balances the whole body. If probably he didn't get the correct medical assistance, or even if he got the correct medical assistance with the spine, anything can happen. He could be crippled on some parts for a number of years. And with the shooting that happened on his genital areas, that could affect him from having children in future, your relationships even. Now, I'm not even going to speak about the family to the deceased, the family of those two young girls. This is 21 and 22, right? 21 and 22-year-old girls that are now deceased from one family, cousins. So their parents are sisters. I'm not going to speak about those two. I'm going to speak about this gent that made it, this gent that survived from that attack. When he sees this person, after all those years, sees this person that has caused damage to his life. This guy who survived is in his 20s. I think it was 27, if I'm not mistaken, but he's under 30. And let's say he were to be someone who's now in a wheelchair, someone who now can't have children for the rest of his life, someone who now can't have relationships, someone who, do you understand the mess? Probably can't find employment, can't find because of this one person. And then they have to come face to face with this person. For me, I see it as torture on top of torture. I just see it as torture. And I know that probably some would say the justice system has played its part, rightfully so. But I think maybe it's just not enough. Maybe it's just not enough. I think the victims need more protection. The victims need more guarantee. They need more peace. But of course, that's my view. It's something we need to chat about. Let's chat, South Africa. What do you think about this particular matter?